The electrical industry was a fascinating one for me. I'll tell you, as a high school kid, I realized very quickly in my choice of career in the electrical industry that it's always the last industry to slow down and the first one to pick up. And so what I wanted to share with you today is a discussion of the all-electric society and how trends within the electric industry. So who is Phoenix Contact? And I wanted to tell you a little bit about us. So Phoenix Contact offers creative solutions in the field of connection technology, electronics, and automation. And we'd like you to join us as we show you the trip that we're going to take on a journey into a smart world. As a background, Phoenix Contact is a privately held company, family-owned, founded in 1923, which means we very soon will be 100 years old. We're very vertically integrated. Phoenix Contact, like I said, was founded in Germany, Essen in North Rhine-Westphalia. I won't go into too much detail about our revenues of 2019, but just to give you an idea, we are 17,000 people worldwide. So originally we started off in what we call energy supply. This is energy generation. We're involved also in the process industry. You'll see a lot of plastic around you. We still need fuel. We still need for your motor car or for your aircraft when we go traveling. We're involved not inside your car, but we are definitely involved in the factory that produced your car. New industries, as I'll mention very shortly, are in the renewable industry, be they wind or solar. Telecommunications. We're not inside your telephone, but we're inside the infrastructure that makes sure that your telephone can communicate with somebody. What it also requires too is, of course, know-how. And what that means is we need to have, and we have, industrial know-how both in connection technology, as I mentioned, the connector, electronics, and then, of course, automation. And what you see here is an automated production line for control modules. That does bring us to the reason why we're here today, and I wanted to pose the three major questions of our time that we need to be aware of. I've kind of showed you already the digitalization that's occurring, and for most of us that have been in the industry for a long time, either in education or in, shall we say, sales and marketing, these technologies nowadays mean we can get to information instantaneously. We no longer need to go to libraries. We can just simply go to Wikipedia, and we don't have to get a book from a library which might be closed today. One of the other challenges we're faced with, of course, and this is of growing concern also to industry and also especially to Phoenix Contact, is climate change and the efforts to reduce CO2, the efforts to basically bring down the temperature increase that we're experiencing every year globally. So the challenges we're faced with, of course, are there's less and more at the same time. And what I'm trying to say is the compromise, the engineering compromise that one needs to come to when you realize that the world needs more and more energy so that the growing population can live in prosperity and security. But at the same time, we have to have less. In other words, we have to reduce our CO2 emissions to survive. And that means that our pursuit of clean energy will trigger, of course, a huge economic and technological boost. So what does our vision of the all-electric society include? Well, it's a world with unlimited energy without harmful emissions based on renewable sources. It relies on sustainable growth, which will also then save our natural resources, use them with less waste. It provides a perspective of growth and development for everyone. When I talk about development, I'm also talking about educational development. What this means is we're going to be looking at new techniques and technologies in the coming years that will allow us to actually achieve this goal. And what this ends up being is a balance between the ecological, the economic, and the societal aspects across the globe. So the sector coupling needs that exist are, of course, you need smart systems. And as I was mentioning, as it relates to connection, electronics, and automation, that's exactly where Phoenix Contact comes in. So everything firstly is networked. You have electrification. You then have digitalization, which means you have digital information flowing between these systems. And then the automation, which simply means that you and I don't have to go to a light switch every time, or we constantly have to get up and go to a light switch. We rely on automation systems to actually manage all of this information for us. Now, the products that we actually make, these components, are various different shapes and sizes. They've relied on mechanical students to design them. In Germany, we talk about Maschinenbau, but in the US market or in the English-speaking market, we always refer to a mechanical designer, mechanical engineers, and draftspeople who then design the design to suit the application. We then have electrical engineers, we have software engineers, all being developed continually to satisfy customer requirements that we discover in the industrial space. So empowering the electric society also requires the accompanying educational landscape. I wanted to share with you what else we're doing at Phoenix Contact. So in today's presentation, we've discussed what is up top here in the red block, in the green bar. But the next step we would like to also tackle with you are online seminars referred to the 5 sectors that I was referring to. I wanted to just close by presenting you some of the didactics and educational cooperation methods we actually currently have between industry and, of course, colleges and universities around the globe through our EduNet program. I actually always like to stay on this picture for just a moment to tell you too, the technologies, interestingly enough, that you see here also involve the idea of augmented reality. They also involve the smart intersection, and of course they involve the very interesting ideas that revolve around digitalization and, most importantly, software. Most people don't realize how critical and important software will be as part of this all-electric society. So I always try to interest kids, especially now too in the middle schools and high schools, in the importance of software and understanding, or at least being able to just learn one software package to get started, to understand how machines think, because we're the ones helping them think. So we do have, in the field of technical education, we have, as I introduced earlier, we have the EduNet World, which is, of course, focused on scientific exchange for teaching in the field of smart production. We then have, of course, the EduNet, which is our cooperation between Phoenix Contact and partnered universities that have signed up for our program. And then we have also, very interestingly enough, and this is almost coming on now for 10 years now, we've had a whole host of different national and international competition for learners both in the high school, technical college and university levels. And this is also an interesting way for students and for professors to also grade the performance of their students, because I will share with you one thing that changes from the time you go from high school to college is the idea that you're always graded individually at high school and also at college. But the one area that industry is always keen to look at is how well do you work in a team. And teamwork, of course, I always tell people engineering is a team sport, probably one of the most important ones, because it doesn't stop. It doesn't have a season. It doesn't start in the winter and end in the fall. It is a year-round experience.